Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Hunter at rangehot.com. I hope everybody's doing well. So this afternoon I'm finalizing my review on the Smith & Wesson 1854 lever gun chambered in 44 Magnum. Now first thing you can see is I've got the lever back. I've inspected the chamber. This rifle is empty, so we know it's safe to talk about. However, it is still pointed in a safe direction. I got a pretty good review coming up, but before we get into that, I got two things I'd like to address, please, if you would bear with me. Candy was checking out my YouTube analytics, and we're doing really good. We're growing the channel. Rangehot.com is doing really well. Y'all know all the video reviews that we do. I'll link to a written article on rangehot.com. But she saw that 90-some% of the people that watch, like, and comment my videos don't subscribe. You know, please consider subscribing. It won't cost you anything. Just click the button, and it really, really helps the channel, especially because, you know, we got a lot of anti-gun algorithms that we're working against, and it's really hard to get my content out, and I feel like I do a good job. And when I screw up, and I do screw up, you know, the YouTube brain trust, they let me know so I can make the appropriate corrections. Also, now we're talking about a lever gun in 44 Magnum, and I got a lot of questions that I always like to ask people, and I'm going to ask you these questions before I get into the review to kind of get your mindset on where I'm coming from. What do you think about the lever action rifle as a defensive rifle? And what do you think about the lever action rifle in a handgun cartridge, this one being in 44 Magnum? Wonder where they got that model number from, 1854. Well, if memory serves, in 1854, Smith & Wesson introduced the Volcanic. The model number to this is kind of a nod back to Smith & Wesson's first venture into the lever gun. Empty, it weighs 6.8 pounds. It is 1.6 inches wide. Overall length is 36 inches. The barrel length is 19.5 inches, and it is threaded on the end 11/16 by 24. And Smith & Wesson is good enough to send this with a thread protector. And it's also, the barrel is made of 410 stainless steel. Now we got a stainless steel receiver here, and that is machined from 416. We do have a length of Picatinny rail. Coming here at the front, we've got a wonderful front sight with a beautiful gold bead on it, and that really draws your eyes to it. I like a front sight with some kind of coloration, being fiber optic or gold bead. That's awesome. And then you've got an excess rear aperture here, more of like a ghost ring. Sighting system on this works really well. And something to note, while it is threaded, we run silencers on this rifle throughout a lot of the review. The two cans we ran is the Liberty Suppressor's Goliath, as well as the Phoenix Weaponry's 4570 can. And because the front sight is a little taller than normal, we were able to run these cans with the front sight, and the front sight jived fine with the cans. We didn't have to try to shoot through the can or any of that stuff. So I thought that was a really nice consideration. The magazine tube. Let's talk about the magazine tube. So this capacity is 9+1. And you could certainly, you know, when you're done, if you want to unload the rifle, you've got, generally with a lever gun, you've got two ways. You can just put the safety on and rack them out, or you can depress your loading gate and pop them out. But Smith & Wesson included a way to remove the entire magazine tube. And so that way, if you wanted to unload this thing safely and in a hurry, you've got that third option. The forearm here and the stock are synthetic material, so this is an all-weather rifle. And then right here at the end of this forearm, you have some M-lock slots, which I thought, you know, they're very discreet, very subtle, but they're there. And so I'm looking at this rifle, and as we're shooting it, you know, I see the little length of Picatinny rail, the threaded barrel, the M-lock slots. And while it is a very traditional looking rifle, it has some subtle updates, some subtle upgrades to kind of bring that lever action rifle into the 21st century, if you will. Now, some people said it didn't need that, or some people are more traditionalists, and I get that. But, you know, a lot of people look at these rifles as very utilitarian. And so if there are some things that they can do to make these rifles a little more user-friendly or usable, I don't see any reason why not. And also here on the rear, you got a nice, cushy recoil pad. Now you're like, oh, well, you know, 44 Magnum in a rifle ain't gonna kick that bad. Yeah, that's true, but some of the double tap stuff, I'm gonna tell you what, y'all, it had a bit of ooh-wee to it. I'm not gonna lie, so I was appreciative of that recoil pad. Also, I had a muzzle brake, and that seemed to help some. Now, it does have a larger loop. I think it's great, especially if you've got big sausage fingers, or it's wintertime and you're running a heavy glove and you want to be able to keep your hand in there and keep it comfortable. But it's not so large that you can't run it without with your bare hand and be fine. But now it's got a weird trigger, y'all. I'm gonna be straight with you. Be straight with you, because it's a straight trigger. Wow, and I didn't mean that pun, and it come out great. I'm so proud. It's braking at about 5.5 pounds. It's got some take-up brakes with some over travel. It is just a straight flat trigger. And even with the hammer down, it's got play in it. Doesn't hurt anything. It was a little weird for me to run a lever gun with a straight trigger. I had to run 15, 20 rounds through it before I could get my head wrapped around it, and then it was fine. Now, y'all probably a little bit smarter than I am and won't have that learning curve, but it stands to reason Smith & Wesson's in introducing lever guns, because over the past, I'm gonna say, year or two, lever guns have really gained a tremendous amount of popularity. They're gaining a lot of traction, and I'm glad to see that. And I believe that one of the primary reasons that lever guns are becoming so much more popular is because, we at Range Hot have been doing a lot of lever gun reviews over the past couple of years. And, well, we have a huge influence on the market. And so, I can't even continue that line. I'm just kind of being facetious, having a little fun. But I love lever guns, and I'm so glad to see that they're kind of coming back in the vogue. And I'm glad to see Smith & Wesson introducing some stuff. In my mind, this is a quality rifle. MSRP is $12.79. So it's a little bit of money, but in today's dollar, I don't think that's out of control. But also understand street price will probably be better than that. Smith & Wesson has a pretty stellar reputation as far as building quality firearms, and there's no reason for me to believe that didn't translate right into this new lever gun. And our experience proved that. Now, all in all, we got just under 400 rounds downrange, and I would say all of those except for about maybe 50 or 75 were 44 Magnums, all different manufacturers, weights, and velocities. But we shot a lot of double tap through this, and I like to use the double tap ammo because it is loaded pretty warm, and so if there's something going on with the rifle or handgun or whatever I'm doing review, that double tap ammo would like to shake it loose. While 400 rounds ain't a whole lot, if there was something that was going on with this rifle, if it was ill fit or poorly engineered, we got enough double tap through it to where I'm sure it'd shook it loose. The rest of that was 44 Special. We shot, like I said, less than 100 rounds, but somewhere between 50 and 75 rounds of 44 Special. As far as feeding it, it was fine. It didn't have no trouble. 44 Magnum or 44 Special rifle fed it fine. But 44 Specials with a can on it was a dream to shoot. If you've got someone that is a little recoil sensitive, what have you, then you do have that option if you're not a hand loader. Something else, though, that I'd like to point out on this rifle, it's got a pretty short throw. And I enjoy that because I felt like that lets you run the lever a little quicker. You can get the rifle loaded and get it back on track. It's pretty slick. We interviewed the good folks at Smith & Wesson at SHOT Show, and I asked them a lot of the same questions. What do you think about the lever gun? Lever gun is a self-defense rifle. But I also asked, why did you introduce it in 44 Magnum, and are there going to be other calibers? In my mind, Smith & Wesson, based on the success of this, would probably start introducing some more lever guns in different calibers. At least I hope they will. Nice texturing here you got on the forearm as well as the pistol grip. Not that it had a lot of recoil, but it does let you keep a pretty steady purchase on it. And you got a standard crossbolt type safety. So if you are familiar with the manual of arms of a lever gun, you should be able to pick this one up and run it no problem. If not, you need to. Lever guns are awesome. Lever guns are awesome. What a generic statement. Lever guns are a lot of fun, and they're pretty cool, and I can appreciate the nostalgia. That's what I should have said. But I'm not going to bother cutting it up. I'm just going to let it roll. Anyway, if you trail walk, or if you hike or hunt, or what have you, and you go in the woods, a lot of people will rely on that 44 Magnum as a sidearm, be it if you got a revolver. Desert Eagle makes a 44 Magnum auto-loading handgun, and it's really popular. And so if you're going out in the woods and you're taking a 44 Magnum revolver, it just makes sense to have a rifle in that same caliber. Now, you're going to get some benefits from the rifle. Not only increased magazine capacity, but also increased barrel length. That increased barrel length is going to give you a little bit more velocity, a little bit better terminal ballistics than out of a handgun, especially if you've got, a 4-inch barreled 44 Magnum revolver or what have you. So, which still, plenty good medicine. Accuracy wise, we did things a little different with this rifle. We shot it out at 50 yards from a rest, and it was grouped at about 3 inches with iron sights. And then took it out to 100 yards, and we just we bagged it, and we stood offhand, and we just spent an afternoon shooting a little 15 by 15 inch piece of steel at 100 yards, and didn't have no trouble with iron sights banging away on that steel. Home defense, self-defense, sure, why not? 44 Magnum, that's plenty big medicine for two-legged and four-legged critters. Let me know what you think of my review, good, bad, right, or wrong. I love constructive criticism, I love feedback, so I can continue to do the videos better and the articles on rangehot.com, so y'all will keep coming back and we can continue to help grow the channel. If you stuck it out this long, God bless your heart, thank you so much. But also, I'm gonna, a little more shameless self-promotion because Candy's reminding me, please, I hope I have earned your subscription. Please consider clicking that subscribe button, sticking around. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming up on Range Hot. A lot of stuff anyway that I think is cool. You may think it's lame, and then that'll just give you the opportunity to be like, Hunter, that was lame. So anyway, that's all I got. I want y'all to take care of yourselves and each other. Look forward to seeing you at the range.